Welcome back. This is Utah Paranormal Activities and Activity and Cannibal Giants. Just so you guys get caught up on all this. Today we're going to discuss Geronimo. There's a little tidbit of information in his audiobooks. What was recorded by Geronimo, or from Geronimo, his story recorded to the War Department. The different agencies agreed to allow Geronimo to be recorded. His life story. You can check it out on YouTube. It's Geronimo's story. I'll try to see if I can save a link to it. Anyway, on to the reason why. So when people want to find evidence of the truth, they say, "Oh, well, what? How come the giants, the Nephilim, and how this happen?" It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. Right in front of me. Right in front of all of us. Nobody knew. Nobody. If you knew, hey, good luck. You knew it's true. You knew the whole thing is true. You'd say, hey, the Watchers, which are the angels that came down and bred the daughters of man because they found them attractive, they were in the story of Geronimo the whole time. They were recorded by Geronimo or from Geronimo. Just give everybody a heads up. Geronimo's father died after being sick for some time, and I listened to the audiobooks of the life of Geronimo in his own words, and then recorded on this video by a separate entity. But they went word for word what it was about. You check out all the research, it all for yourself. The beginning of this video, they talk about what recording and who they got it from, and where it's from, and where you can check it out for yourself. But it is Geronimo's story of his life, full audio book by Geronimo, autobiography, Native American history. Geronimo's father was a big man, of big stature, big guy, big. Who knew? Who knew that? Looking at Geronimo, little guy, say he's an Apache. He's not very tall, but he had an angelic being to him. He could be killed in battle. Hence, Geronimo. Whoa, Geronimo jumping off a cliff. We all heard about that. How that was a big thing. Yelling Geronimo jumping off a cliff because Geronimo couldn't really be killed by the bullets. Fun fact. Just same with let's say Crazy Horse was the same way. Chief Romano was a Cheyenne. He ate off a fork in a Sioux village. It was a metal fork, which wronged Wakantanka, the Great Spirit, Great Mystery, and he was killed shortly after. But Chief Romano's was a big man, huge. I see pictures of him. Check it out yourself. James Curtis took the pictures. He's a giant, beautiful person. Same with Chief Bigfoot, which was a monster of a man. Killed at Wounded Knee. Died of pneumonia, not bullets. Having been sick for some time, Geronimo's dad, when he passed away, carefully, the Watchers, not the other people or the relatives or the aunts and uncles, the Watchers came to take him to burial. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing how, there's no way the First Nation here in the West was connected to giants or the angelic beings that came here. No, not at all. Star knowledge, star people. No, there's no way. No, absolutely no way. Parallel Gap out there with all the aliens. No way. The Watchers weren't here. They're in the Book of Enoch. They're the angels that were here illegally, that are stuck on earth, can never return to heaven, came to take Geronimo's father to burial.
Closed his eyes. Then they arrayed him in his best clothes.
The Watchers closed his eyes, arrayed him in his best clothes, painted his face
afresh, wrapped a rich blanket around him, saddled his favorite horse, bore his arms in front of him, and led his horse behind, repeating in wailing tones his deeds of valor as they carried his body to a cave in the mountain.
The Watchers.
Then they slew his horses, and we gave away all of his other property. Horse bore his. We had never seen a white man, wars with other tribes of
Huh.
Indians also, but were seldom at peace for any great length of time with the Mexican towns. Mako died when my father was but a young warrior, and Mangus Colorado became chief of the Bedonkohe Apaches. When I was but a small boy, my father died, after having been sick for some time. When he passed away, carefully the watchers closed his eyes. Then they arrayed him in his best clothes, painted his face afresh, wrapped a rich blanket around him, saddled his favorite horse, bore his arms in front of him, and led his horse behind, repeating in wailing tones his deeds of valor as they carried his body to a cave in the mountain. Then they slew his horses, and we gave away all of his other property, as was customary in our tribe, after which his body was deposited in the cave, his arms beside him. His grave is hidden by piles of stone. Wrapped in splendor he lies in seclusion, and the winds in the pines sing a low requiem over the dead warrior. After my
So, what I'm getting at, you guys are really confused right now because it's such breaking news that the Watchers were actually involved with the Apache. Um, that's just breaking, just eye popping. You know that the U.S. government, the War Department, Bureau of Indian Affairs, they just, hey, there was no hatred for the people. This guy here was just drunk on Tiswin all the time. Didn't really care. Was just a savage, just savage, just all savage. Killed people, did. Yeah, but you listen to the story of Geronimo growing up, what his life was like before his children were killed by the Mexican army soldiers. You kind of figure, that could have kind of made things bad. And his father, that was the Watchers came and buried him. The angels, the fallen angels, came and buried him. Uh, they warred with the Spanish conquistadors and Mexicans for hundreds of years prior, and were wiped down to 1,000 by the Mexicans in the end. Before this, his father's his father's generation, there was only 1,000 left, and per the Mexican archives in the history of San Antonio, the 1,000 Apaches that survived were actually enslaved. The Apaches you're hearing about now are the last of the descendants. The Geronimo and his bands and all the six or so bands of the Apache were survivors of a genocide by the Mexican army, the Mexican people, the Spanish conquistadors. Outright genocide. Spain is not the best country in the world. Nobody should ever sit back and say, oh, yeah, Spain. No, Spain's to blame for this stuff. They came here lusting for slaves, greed, land, gold. They conquered, they destroyed, they massacred, did sickening things here, brought diseases. Huge, huge. But the Watchers are somehow connected to the Apache. Now let's go back. Let's reel this whole thing back to the Comanche people, the Aztecian dialect people. Now the Aztec people fought which is Shoshonean people. I've just recently watched a video about the Shoshones that were up in Yellowstone. They called the Sheep Eaters. Very primitive people, very loving people. They all died. White man would come on a horse in their village one day, sick with smallpox, killed every sheep eater pretty much. The very few survived. The old lady that was encountered in 1877 by an explorer, and she told the story of her people that never came out of the mountains, never came out of let's see, with the Grand Tetons and the mountains of Yellowstone. They hid up there. They didn't have guns. They didn't want nothing to do with anybody. They were ancient, beautiful people. You see the picture of the last of them. Anyway, the Shoshone people, which are the Ute people, which are the Paiute people, which are the Comanches, which are the Aztecs, and the Goshutes, they fought the giants, which would be the children of they're the Nephilim. They are the sons and daughters of the Watchers. Okay, so remember we have the Aztec-speaking tribes, and then we have the Apache tribe. The Apache were notably different through the history of San Antonio by the Mexicans and by the Spanish conquistadors that were here. Remember the American settlement in the east was happening, and all that. The first pilgrims in Plymouth Rock, the Protestants, whatever, that came here. This was all happening in the West with Spain. With Spain, okay? There's a whole other history happening here in the West that the Anglo-Saxons had nothing to do with. Very, very little until they came into Texas and the Mormons came into Utah, and the 49ers went into California and Oregon. But the Apache were a different people. Okay, we're all related. Sorry, my hair got caught in my fingernail. We're all related, but the Apache were different ethnically, in a sense. They were still relatives, just like a Russian or Ukrainian. They were related in a lot of senses, but they spoke different dialects. Now the Comanche, which are the Shoshones, which are the Utes, had fought and destroyed the red-haired giants in the inland ocean in Nevada and California once they turned cannibalistic. But the Apache were apparently in cahoots with the Watchers, which would be in the Book of Enoch, those angelic beings. We can prove that just to do. Let's get to the Watchers, Book of Enoch. Who are the Watchers? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Watchers in the Bible. It would be the Book of Enoch. Long day out west. Okay, in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers are angels dispatched to earth to watch over the humans. They soon began to lust for the human women, and at the prodding of their leader, Samiazatuth, whatever, they defected en masse to illicitly instruct humanity and procreate among them. They're the ones that told people how to kill each other. But apparently, the Watchers were still with the Apache at the time of Geronimo's father. Now you say, that's not documented fact. That's not history. It's not documented fact. History is written by the people that make money off of history, that push a narrative on history, that do not want you to know the truth because it's their thesis, their theory. We've done more in this episode than what a lot of historians have done, Native American historians have done in their lifetime. They made tons of money, wrote books and literature, and then, look, I'm a doctor, Jim. I'm from these people. I'm from the Comanche, too. I got a spiritual connection with these people. I do. Look, I can do the same angry face. No one will have eyes like that unless you fought for everything. You fought for everything. Yeah, just to give you guys a heads up. The Comanche fought the giants, the descendants of the Watchers. The anomaly of humans that were created, or half human beings that were created by the lust of the angels that are sent here to watch over the humans. They taught the humans to kill each other, to do all kinds of nasty things to each other. And the Apache, we're still with them. We're still with the Watchers. The Watchers still stayed watching the Apache. So I'm trying to go back through the history of Native Americans, and I have found quite a bit. A lot of spiritualism, a lot of stuff talking about the giants. A lot of history. Just like the Shoshones, these giant people. They say they're small people in the mountains. Went down south. The Shoshonian people went into Texas, and history is Spanish. The Mexicans were like, oh no, there's little people coming out of the desert, out of the mountains of the Great Salt Lake and the Great Basin, and coming down into Texas, Colorado. They're the little teeny people compared to the Plains people. Plains people had tattoos, and they were giants. And the eastern tribes that they encountered going to Appalachia, they went after the little people, and they conquered and stole, and the conquistadors took what they could, and they ran these little people. And then the giants chased them all the way back. Men of great stature, beautiful form, chased them, and they could not believe it. But they were delirious with, drunken with stealing everything and trying to kill everybody, eating all their corn, right? No, they ran into giants. And I hear you go back through all the history of native tribes, and you'll see it. What gets me the most of the whole subject is sometime during that time, there was a massive cover-up because they know dang well from the stories of the Native Americans of that time period that they were giants. They had giants. People were midgets back in the day. Okay, midgets, small people. The Native people were big heads, huge compared to the white people. They had big heads, rocker jaws. Take a European jaw, you take it, set it down. Asiatic, flat jaw sets. Polynesian jaw is rocker jaw, goes like this. Native Americans had big heads. A lot of them at that time. Very big, very strong people, very muscular people. They weren't out there like Conan pushing a big thing. They were just hunter-gatherers. They were just beautifully sculpted people that were extremely muscular and tall and huge. Wonder why. I don't know. Could be because they could be descendants from the Watchers. Yeah, I'm just saying, just a possibility. I'm just stating Captain Obvious in a scenario. Let me just let's look at the sheep eaters. Let me just show you what the sheep eaters, the Shoshonean people, which are the Aztecian people. If we get past the commercial, maybe we'll have to might have to deal with the commercial. Let's hope not. Just give me a second. I'll show you. Look at that face. Ah, dang, we missed it. Okay, right there. Let me widescreen this for you. You see that? Do you see him? And right there is a beautiful, strong warrior. Something that you don't see today in any man on earth. They don't exist anymore. Not in this world. Yeah, of course, we got a little teeny bit of similarities between him. Just a teeny bit. Different ethnicities. Well, we're Aztecs, ancient Aztecs either way, but the Shoshonian people. But you could see that face. Unreal. Just the cheekbones, the forehead, the eyes, perfect. I'll tell you, I seen a Sasquatch. The one I put the rifle in his face looked like him. Pure white. Looked like him. Beautiful. I gotta show you the picture. Where did I put it that I drew? Oh, where is it? You know what? Gosh dang it, I wish I knew where it was at. Hold on a second. Just stare at that face. Just stare at that face. Okay? Look. I drew a picture. This is when editing comes in. No editing, guys. Single editing. I don't know where that picture is. Okay, you been looking at that face for a little while? No, it doesn't look similar to him. That'll look a little more similar. So, this is what I drew of the Sasquatch. That's what I remembered of him. Very similar, I would say. They look awfully close, don't they? That's just what I remember. It's probably not the truth picture of him. Not a very accurate depiction, but yeah, it is actually pretty accurate. He had big cheekbones. Big cheekbones like that. Beautiful nose. But he had a brow. Yeah. Very similar. Very similar. Wow. Wow. His eyes are a little offset. I remember his eyes, looking me in the eyes, just was straight, beautiful face. Just perfect. Just looking at me, leaning over a tree, looking right at my face. I had the 44 right like this, right in his face at 14 years old. Yeah. The other ones, the women, were They were a little different looking. They weren't like him. He was just beautiful. But he just stared at me just like that. Just no emotion. Just stared at me. I didn't shoot. I didn't pull the trigger that night. If I would have, I would either be a big greasy spot, or they'd have never found any of us. Parts of us, maybe. Like there was a girl ripped apart up there. 2 women were ripped apart up there. I was told that directly from a man that was involved in that way back in the day. 2 women were just they thought it was a bear. Grizzly bear got a hold of them. Hush, hush. Nobody talks about that stuff. Those women were disappeared. But anyway, thanks for watching Cannibal Giants, Utah Paranormal Activities and Activity. And I'm going to post this. It's going to take me about 2 days. Thanks to YouTube and everybody else that's causing issues, the cloud and everything else. So thanks for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe, because this guy right there, they could be out at the Valley of the Giants. I'd have to call Valley of the Other Beings when I went out today. But they could be out there. That could be what roared at me. A relative of that beautiful human being. Not the red-haired giants. I talked about that today, and my uncle told me, he says, probably red-haired giants. Like, dang it, you're probably right. Which my grandmother's red-headed, so I don't know. But, yeah. I'd like to find out if these people are still out there. Maybe the Shoshones are out there. The Paiute people were still out there, because that's the last place they were. Little known history about the western peaks out west, that there was a band that stayed out there called the Blank Peaks Paiute. They merged with the other Paiute band when they were brought in. When they came in, surrendered because of deep snow. But it makes me wonder if they're still out there. They're hiding in the caves with the Watchers. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.